Hey guys, Matt here. So, Aquestive Therapeutics. I mean, this stock has been soaring, not just by the day, but by the month. Like, by the month, it is up 64.1%. It recently had some earnings, and we're going to talk about it a little bit, because they were really, really good earnings. Now, before I get into it, I just want to let you guys know that Aquestive Therapeutics, this stock is not a stock I own. Now, I did cover the stock before in a video, which you can watch up here, where I go into a bit more depth about the company. However, like I said, this is not a stock I own, and this is not a stock I plan on owning. And that has nothing to do with the company itself. That is basically, I mean, if you've been following my portfolio videos for some time, you know that I have a lot of stocks. I have way too many stocks, and I really don't need to. So, spoiler alert. I like the stock, but I think it's highly risky. I don't need another highly risky stock in my portfolio. I already have my fair share of them, and I really don't want to add any more. However, I've been looking at this company, and I gotta say, I like what I see. Now, like I said, I'm not gonna go too in depth on the company because I already did that in a previous video. But the gist of it is, so they make medicine. However, their claim to fame, the thing that sets them apart, is that the way they administer their medicine. Instead of it being like a pill or something you take nasally or a shot or something like that. Now, I'm going to explain this in layman's terms because I'm not a doctor. I'm not a medical expert. You know those Listerine breath strips that you take out and you stick it on your tongue, and that's how you freshen up your mouth. It's basically that, but for medicine. And I think that is a fantastic idea, especially for, patients who can't swallow pills for some reason, or they're unable to swallow pills, or it's very difficult for them to do that. I mean, being able to just, stick we'll call it a breath strip, a medicine strip, like on your cheek or on your tongue, and have that do the job. Like, that is a fantastic idea, and that's a fantastic business model. And it's broken down into two different categories. These licensed commercial products. Now, Aquestive doesn't sell these. Aquestive, they own the product, they make them, but they license the commercial aspects through different companies. So they have other companies do the selling, do the legwork and stuff like that. They just make the medicine and hand it out to those customers. And then they have these proprietary growth drivers. These are the things that Aquestive wants to be known for. They have Sympazan. Then there's Libervant. This is the thing that they want to be known for. This was filed by the FDA earlier. I don't know if it was earlier this year or last year. It got sent back. They refiled it again. And they're supposed to know by December whether it's approved or not. Libervant is a buccal film. I think it's like the first oral diazepam. And I think this is a phenomenal product, just as a layman. According to Keith Kendall, who is the CEO, basically what I heard on the earnings call, most patients who take diazepam for seizures, they either take them nasally or they take them through rectal gel. And from my understanding, from what I heard on the call, they prefer to take the rectal gel. Now, I am not accustomed. I don't know what the rectal gel is like, but in my opinion, if I had the choice between taking rectal gel to treat diazepam or a little strip that you put on your cheek, so that's a buccal film, so that means it goes in your cheek, I would rather take this any day. Just to be perfectly clear, before I go into the results of this latest earnings call, they have not done well financially over the past couple of years. They had a minor jump up between 2017 and 2018, and then they just fell off a cliff as far as revenue. We're talking considerably down each year in 2019 and 2020. However, starting in 2021, they started making a bit of a comeback. Just to be clear, just so we're on the same page, until the beginning of 2021, yes, they performed like shit. I'll be the first to admit that. However, things have changed on this earnings call. They went from $8.2 million to $13.2 million in revenue and year over year. Now, going over here, that's a 60% increase year over year. And their net income, or I guess net loss, is a loss of $14.5 million. So that's still 12.6 up year over year. Net profit margin up 45.3% year over year, even though it's obviously still in the negatives. I mean, they did really well. Now, there's one thing I want to point out is this right here. Now, you can see on the 9 months, as far as year over year, they didn't do so well. That's what I'm trying to say is this quarter is when they, they're really starting to hit it home. But there are a few numbers that I need you guys to look at. So this right here, the interest expense related to the sale of future revenue. Now, I covered this in a previous video, in my last video, but I'm going to go over this very briefly. So they have a contract with another company, and basically they receive upfront payments from that company. In exchange of that company, they get all the revenue from selling a particular product. So that's what it is. And on Aquestive's side, in order to have everything, marked down correctly from an accounting perspective, they have to mark these as non-cash expenses. So this right here is not as scary as it seems. So you could take this net loss and subtract this amount from it, and that's not so bad. Especially you go here, that's not so bad at all either. So if you take this out, it's still a drop year over year, 9 months, as far as their loss. And that holds true with their balance sheet. Now, if you've been following my channel, you know how I love balance sheets. Now, this doesn't look this is not as scary as it looks. I said this last video. Remember what I said about the sale of future revenue? They also have to record this as a liability. So they got this here, and they got this up here in the currents. They have to record this every quarter, and it's going to go up every quarter until it hits a certain amount. I think it's 125, but I could be very wrong about that. It's going to go up every quarter until it runs out. And so if you subtract this and this from this number, you will find that they have slightly more assets than liabilities. Not much, but their assets are slightly better than their liabilities. So it is still risky in my book, just not as risky. And one thing I want to point out on the conference call, the CEO Keith, he sounded very confident on the call. That's one thing I pay attention to. He was very confident. He was very enthusiastic. He was very engaging with the answers, and he said a lot of good things. The call mainly focused on what was it? Libervant and Sympazan. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that right. And basically he said that, now I don't know if he released numbers as far as the sales of the products themselves, but he said that Sympazan was doing really well, as evident on the 10Q. Yeah, they've been doing very well. Libervant, like I said, he's very confident. Now he can't say for sure, but he expressed extreme confidence that Libervant is going to get approved by the FDA. And basically, whether this company grows or explodes or not is pretty dependent on Libervant, which is what they wanted to be known for. The call mainly focused on Sympazan, Libervant. They also focused a little bit on AQST 109. They recently released some news. Let's see if I got this right. In which there was some earlier news in which they had some really good results from a phase 1 study. Now that is it. Now this, by the way, this PDF is from August. I just need a graphical overview. But these FDA approvals, they take a long time. So we got some pretty good results from that. But it's going to be a while before they're able to file it. It could be 6 months. It could be years. Like with these FDA things, we don't know until we know. But how this company performs going forward is really dependent on Libervant, whether that gets approved or whether that gets kicked back. Like I said, the CEO sounded confident, but we're not going to know until we know. Oh, and one more thing I want to point out is that they also updated their guidance. They went from 46 million to 48 million to 47 to 49 million in revenue for 2021. So Aquestive is doing really well so far. As far as the EBITDA loss, they went down. They were expecting 39 to 42 million loss, and they adjusted that to 32 to 34 million. So far, things are looking really up for this company. And like I said, the stock price has reflected that, not just with the earnings report, but in the past month. There's some major upside to this stock. And the biggest downside, the biggest risk is, like I said, their balance sheet isn't the most fantastic in the world. Is it Libervant gets kicked back? That's going to be a major blow because, in a time it takes, companies to refile, change whatever they got to change and resubmit, that could be a lot of time and a lot of money. So as far as valuations go, I mean, price to sales is basically what we got to go on. It's probably a little high. However, I mean, if you're in this on growth, and let's be honest, if you're in Aquestive, you're in this for growth, you probably don't care about this that much. I would like to see the price drop a little bit back into fours, but again, like I said, I'm not really interested in buying the stock because I have way too many stocks. But like, I mean, if you're in this as a growth stock, this is probably a decent price. As far as this quarter, I mean, they're expected to go from 7.1 million to 9.3 million. By the year, they're supposed to go up 5.4%. And by next year, they're supposed to go up 38.1%. Now, these are just analyst estimates. We'll see how they actually perform. I think analysts are factoring in, you know, Libervant getting approved and commercialized. So if that doesn't happen, then that's going to put a dent in how Aquestive actually performs. So as far as what I think about the stock, since I'm not owning it or planning to own it, I think it wouldn't be very responsible for me to say, oh, the stock is a buy or the stock is not a buy. So I'll say this, just like I said last video. If you think that Libervant is going to get approved and commercialized next month, then this stock might be worth a look. I'll put it like that. But if you don't think Libervant is going to get approved in time, or you think it's going to get kicked back, then the stock is probably not worth a look. But anyways, take care, have a great day, and eat your vegetables.